Are you feeling like things are totally out of sync? It's like things just don't match up anymore. And when I look around, I'm like, no wonder. We tend to wake up before the sun even rises and go to bed way after it sets. We live in these beautiful climate controlled structures. And when we want to go somewhere, we go in another climate controlled structure to get there. And when we arrive, we typically go into yet something else that's climate controlled too. When we're in pain anywhere in our body, from physical to mental, we just reach for something to numb it out completely. We're constantly striving toward goals and reaching them, and then striving for some more goals because, well, there's only the striving. We're always go, 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 and we barely even rest. It's a wonder that we didn't disconnect sooner. And yet, I think we did. I think as a race, as a society, we have disconnected long ago. When I was in church one day with my husband, the minister was preaching on something out of Galatians, the story of love your neighbor, that you should love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I grew up in churches. My grandfather's a minister and a pastor. My father is a minister and now a pastor. I grew up with this my whole life. I went to several different religious schools growing up even. So it wasn't a foreign concept to me. I doubt it's a foreign concept to you to love your neighbor as you love yourself. But in that moment, I realized, holy crap, people do love their neighbor as much as they love themselves. They are so disconnected from themselves and so in some ways angry with themselves or have this huge pit in them. It's no wonder that we start treating other people so terribly. We are literally loving them as much as we love ourselves. And in some degrees, and for some people, they love their neighbors more than they love themselves. They treat their neighbors better than they treat themselves because they are so wholly disconnected. They so feel like there's pieces of them missing and they don't know where they are. That's a problem. And that's what we're going to talk about today is like, how do you get back to feeling whole again? What does that look like? One of the things over time I've realized is we're so disconnected from ourselves because we're so disconnected from our beingness, our natural beingness. And so what is natural beingness? That's being connected to nature. Like right now I can hear the cicadas going on in the background. I don't think you're going to hear that in the video. But I can hear the cicadas in the background, right? And also part of your natural beingness is your spirituality, whether you're religious or not. We're all spiritual. We're all born with that. It's innate in us, but we push it aside. And that is part of denying our natural beingness, and that is part of the disconnection. And that disconnection has massive ripple effects. We'll get into that in just a minute. First, I want to talk about what we are connected into. Because just because we're disconnected from ourselves doesn't mean that we're not connected into something. We are. Remember earlier I said we go, 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 we strive for a goal and we get it, we strive for a goal and get it. Yeah, we're addicted to goals. We're addicted to setting and achieving goals. Because, let's face it, it feels good, doesn't it? And we're all looking, some degree, to feel good. We want to turn away from what's painful and turn to what feels good. There's very few people who want to feel bad all the time. Most people want to feel good all the time. So keep that in mind. That the reason that you keep setting, achieving, is you're going for that high that you naturally occurs in your brain from the neurotransmitters to feel good, right? That's what we're plugged into, but that's thrown off our natural balance. And then there's this question of, okay, but then why do we keep setting, achieving? Why isn't it that I can't just set a goal, achieve it, and it feels really good, and that's enough. It just doesn't work that way because it's a short-term neurotransmitter hit. That's all it is. And what's even more interesting is over time of setting, achieving, as you're going for the next goal and the next goal and the next goal, is that the return on that good feeling diminishes. Have you noticed this? It was so amazing to set and achieve a goal when you were younger, and now that you're older, it just doesn't quite hit the same way, does it? It doesn't feel as good as it used to achieve those goals. It just feels like, oh, that's just another day, right? We're just going along. That's kind of what it feels like. So we need to get to a point, and this is where going back to where we're disconnected and plugging back in is going to help us have this persistent neurotransmitter that's really going to help us feel good all the time. We're getting there. I swear we're getting there. This is what's going to help you get back to wholeness. I want to give you another example. And because we're here on YouTube, I'm going to talk about content creators. They're always chasing that little dopamine hit. And in fact, since we're here, go ahead, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, because it really helps the channel grow. It gets this message out to more people. And of course, even as you're listening, start commenting on this video. I love responding to comments. And it also helps the channel grow too. So that's my little, commercial in here. But back to content creators, the cheap dopamine hit, because I've done this. I know others do this. Like literally you put up a video and you're looking to see how many people have liked it, and you're refreshing to see
what's my click-through ratio and what's my engagement time and how long's the video been watched. Did this video get any subscribers?
Like you're looking at all those things, you're refreshing until your friends or family push you away from the computer. Stop looking at it. Stop it. Because you're chasing that cheap dopamine hit of a subscriber, a comment, a like. They watched more than 50% of the video. Whatever it is, right? That's what we're looking for. And it's oh. But then again, over time, the return on that excitement lessens and lessens and lessens. All of a sudden, you just expect there's going to be X number of comments, X number of likes, and this much watch time every time you produce a video. And the excitement wanes. And in fact, it can switch over very easily. And you'll notice this happens a lot in your goal setting. It switches back over to where if it doesn't meet what you think is the minimum, what should be going on, now you're really disappointed. And you get down into despair. Have you noticed that? It goes from this really yummy feeling of yes to now that you expect it and it doesn't happen, you're like,
oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? How am I going to recover from this? What's wrong with me? Wait, did I use the wrong colors? Did I not do my audit? What happened?
And it puts you in this downward spiral. That's why chasing and achieving goals and using that as a feel-good mechanism is not sustainable. It does not work in your life. Okay? Instead, what we really need to look at, and I said this before, is really connecting into wholeness. And you can reach that state of wholeness. You can reach that state of completeness. You can reach that state of feeling yummy and feeling that love inside. It's always been there, just forgotten how to tap into it. And before we get into how do I tap into it, Africa, because I know, you want to know how to tap into it. That's why you clicked on this video. I also want to point out what's at stake if you don't. Right? I really want you to get what's at stake if you don't, because what I'm going to tell you about, what I'm going to teach you about later, has got to be a sustained practice. Because we have a lot of rewiring to do in our mind. So I think it's really important to know, we talked about the cheap dopamine hit and how it doesn't last and actually how it can reverse on you. But there's other things that are truly at stake, right? They're truly at stake. And what's at stake? Everything. And that is not hyperbole. Not hyperbole at all. I mean, just think about time, the construct of time. We all know it. We've all been there. We live by the clock, don't we? Of course we do. We wake up by the clock. We sleep by the clock. And by the way, if you're on the clock, you can't go to the bathroom. Ugh, how crazy is that? We've got meetings. We have to be on certain schedules. That clock, tick, 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 it means so much. It rules our life. It rules our every being. And when we mess things, or when that time, that construct of time is running short, now there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety about not meeting the master of the clock. And when you think about it, that clock has been with us since birth. That construct of time from birth has been moving us away from our own internal rhythms to where we hardly know what they are anymore. This is how the fabric of what holds us together, the fabric of what holds us to ourselves, the way that we're constructed and our wholeness gets ripped. This is where the beginning of separation occurs. Now, some of you might have said,
Africa, I remember you talking about those climate-controlled structures. Why didn't you go with that being?
Well, there's a reason I didn't. Not everyone, this is why I'm saying not everyone on Earth goes from one climate-controlled structure into another. A lot of people do it, especially in Western society, especially here in the US. But to me, that is the second big thing that is really just ripping us apart, disconnecting us from our natural selves, is this dependence on climate-controlled structures. And I, for one, am that human, right? My thing I used to say is, oh my gosh, I would love to live in climate-controlled nature. I was born and raised in South Central Texas. It is hot here most of the time. And by most of the time, I mean most of the year. Well, it's important to be in climate-controlled structures here, which makes you think, why do we as humans live in places that are so inhospitable to us that we must have these climate-controlled structures so we can live there? Why are we not living in places that are more hospitable to us? Now, I'm not saying that some people don't love this hot, humid weather. Some people do. I'm not that human, right? I was looking for something that's much nicer since I was born. I've always hated the climate here. You can watch many videos. I complain about this. And what did I do? I moved till I found climate-controlled nature, right? I moved to what I call central, I guess people call it Northern California. And almost year-round, it is beautiful outside. There's no mosquitoes trying to attack me 24/7. It was like heaven there to me, heaven on earth, right? Why don't more humans live there and less in places that are like, let's just take Phoenix, for example. Still as hot or hotter as it is here, very low humidity, but still problematic because it's too hot. Or why do we try to go places that are way too cold? Like, what is it about us that's making us spread so around the world into places that aren't good to be in for us naturally? And then what do? We divorce ourselves, right? We separate ourselves from our natural environment in these climate control environments. Like, I love looking to this camera, but I also love looking over there at the crepe myrtle. It's beautiful. Will I ever go outside and touch that crepe myrtle? Maybe in late November, early December, right? Because if I'm outside right now, I'm running to the car and turning on the AC, right? I don't get to engage in nature in the same way. And that's important. It's so important for us to engage in nature. It's so important for us to put our hands or our bare feet on the ground. There's something very healing about nature. And I'm probably maybe for you, you're like, yeah, I know that. Well, then go get out into nature. right? Go outside, go walk in the woods if they're nearby, be around the trees, or for some people, it's being at the ocean or being in the mountains, like whatever it is for you. Why aren't you living in a place that is supportive to your whole being? Right? In the same way, it's like, why are we so dependent on this construct of time? And you might be saying,
Africa, I need a job. I need to be where the jobs are. I need to be near friends or family or whatever it is. That's what I need.
okay, I get that. But what can you do to make it to where you can mitigate these issues around the construct of times, these issues around climate controlled structures? How can you re-engage into the natural world? How can you get back in rhythm? I mean, I also initially talked about we wake up and we go to sleep. Sometimes we wake up before the sun. Many people do. Many children do. Right? And this is really something that makes me so upset, that we're waking up kids before the sun and then usually keeping them up way afterwards between activities, homework, like, I don't know, they have to eat and drink too. And then we're messing around with, that's their internal circadian rhythms we're messing with, right? And we're really teaching them to be in the grind. Let's just be honest. But that's their circadian rhythms we're messing with right there. And then on top of that, they're in that construct of time, right? The reason they're waking up is because time, you got to be at school at a certain time, the bus stop at a certain time, whatever. And then because of time and our restrictions on it, when they go to school and they need to go to the bathroom, I'm sorry, that only happens between this time and this time that you can go. You have to wait. You can't listen to what your body needs to do. You got to figure out something else. You are literally being taught to ignore your body's signals. Did you realize that? Even at work, there's jobs where you can't just get up and just stop and go, I really need to go pee, and go. No, that only has to happen at a certain time on your break time, and you got 15 minutes. Well, if it takes you more than 15 minutes because other things, sometimes you need a longer bio break. Well, that's too bad. Now you're being docked because we are so connected into that construct of time that we've disconnected from ourselves. And now we're having to ignore our own body. You see how this all plays in? That's what makes it so dangerous. When we start to mitigate the effects of time and climate controlled structures, we start to change as a society. So one person does it, then another, and then all of a sudden we have this ripple effect, how we're engaging with our natural rhythms, our internal rhythms in the natural environment in a different way. That's how we're going to create change in society. So I'm not saying that we can do all this at one time and stop looking at this construct of time. Who cares? Get rid of these climate controlled structures. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, how can we still engage in things that are natural and start to wean ourselves away from this? It may take generations, but it's got to start somewhere. That's how vitally important this is. And this all contributes to your feeling of wholeness, to your feeling of belongingness. And as I've said before, this starts with you. This starts with me. This starts with us listening to our bodies, which means we've got to start to listen again. We've got to start to hear again. I know so many people, not are they listening to when they have to do the normal bodily functions until it's almost like red alert, red alert, red alert, have to pee, red alert. Sometimes they don't even listen to their own hunger signals anymore. Got to get back to listening to our body. And one of the best ways I know to do that is with grounding meditations. And I have a few on this channel, and you can get more calm. I'll have the link in the description section, and you can check out even more grounding meditations there. But it's very important to ground, to start to really get back in touch with your body and get back in touch with what's going on right now. Not to be out in the future, not to be held back by the past, but to be in the now. And the best way I know to do that, and the best way I know to get back in touch with your body, is to do grounding meditations. And I know some of you are going to think, well, does this mean I'm not going to take something to numb myself out anymore? You'll probably still take those things. The point is, you're going to get curious about why you need to take those things, right? Why is it that you're always having headaches? Why is it that your knee hurts? Or whatever it is. Why is it that you feel super sad, or you notice that you're really happy and then really sad, and or that you're super snappy at people? Instead of reaching for a bottle of something to numb out that feeling, investigate it. It doesn't mean that you don't reach for that to move through your day. So don't get me wrong there. Investigate it. Go see somebody about it. Don't let it get worse. Don't let it be red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert before you do something about it. Because sometimes it's too late. Or sometimes now more drastic measures have to be taken. That's why it's so important to listen to our body signals. Sometimes it's signaling us one way to help us go look at something else. Okay? So just be really keenly aware of what those signals are telling you. Go see someone. And I know if you're in the US, that is easier said than done, because you're always weighing, can I just take something over the counter versus the expense of going to see a doctor, right? Because our medical system is jacked, right? Especially in the US. But I implore you, it is cheaper over time if you get this stuff looked at, right? So listen to your body signals. Seek out, if you're into more alternative healing methods, go seek those out. Like, do what has to be done so that you can feel whole. Because those things will weigh on you, and they weigh on and tear at your internal fabric, and you don't get that feeling of wholeness. We want feelings of wholeness. Again, this is one of those sustained practices. Meditation, listening to your body. And speaking of bodies, I just want to take a little sidestep here and talk about sleep. You need to sleep, right? We can't be go, 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 and barely sleeping. It's not healthy. In fact, it is quite detrimental and pretty much deadly, right? I remember when I was younger, I was going through, I guess, that normal period where you want to sleep all day as a child. And my mother was like, you can sleep when you're dead. And she's right, you can sleep when you're dead. She was absolutely right about that. But what she probably didn't realize is, if I don't sleep, death will come quicker, right? And I don't think that's what she wanted. So when you hear people say stuff like that, like you can ignore sleep, or my ex-husband had this thing, you could substitute food for sleep. Like if you're tired, just eat more food and you can keep going. Like all those things are really bad habits, because your body's trying to say, I need to shut down momentarily. I need to stop making you work so that I can do some internal recalibration. I need sleep. Let your body sleep. Get your body back into natural rhythms of sleeping that works for you. And I'm not saying that, I know I talked about we wake up before the sun comes up and go to sleep long after it goes down. For some people, they are night owls. That's their rhythm. So whatever your rhythm is your rhythm. Work with your rhythm, but just get adequate sleep for your body. And again, that's different for everyone. So I'm not going to say, you need 8 hours of sleep. You need the amount of sleep that your body needs. But that's my side note, and a huge one. There's a lot of research behind the need to sleep and have good quality sleep. And what I love about now is there's so many ways, speaking of quality sleep, that we can find out. There's these things called Aura rings that'll measure your sleep. And sometimes even on our phones, there's stuff that'll measure our sleep quality. There's so many ways that technology can be supporting us in getting back into our natural rhythms and getting back into nature. I remember being outside with my son when he was really little. I would take my phone, we point it up in the sky, and we could name all the constellations. Like, these amazing things that technology can do for us right now to help us reconnect, not only to nature, but also spiritually. But yet, we haven't quite used technology in that way. Instead, we've allowed technology to disconnect us from things that will really nourish and support us. When you think about the loud alarm clocks jolting you awake in the morning, right? To, like I said, now you can almost be monitored all the time where you are and what you're doing. And like we have to go, 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 go. Even if you have the opportunity to work from home for whatever corporation, now they're tracking your mouse and seeing if you're working. They're not even letting you have the opportunity to think. It's just work, 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 work. Now, I've mentioned several steps that you can take to get back into natural rhythm. I suggest doing all of them, but only if you do one or two, that's still going to be huge. It'll make a huge difference in your life. And so I hope that you do that. And you're going to find, instead of these little dopamine hits you would get from chasing and achieving goals, or in my case, refreshing all the time, looking at YouTube Studio, what you're going to find is the sustained feeling of well-being. And that sustained feeling of well-being from doing these few things I've suggested is also going to move into a feeling of wholeness, of completeness again. Remember, it's really about engaging back into nature and deepening your spiritual connection. Those two things together really get you back into your natural beingness, and your feeling of wholeness and completeness. I want to leave you with this last note. The beautiful part of all this, when you get back into your natural beingness, you'll find that you are automatically loving your neighbor as much as you love yourself in the way that it was intended. All right, my loves. Until next time, peace, joy, love. To you.